Hey guys, how you going? And welcome back to BKRtravel for another one of these answering your questions videos. I love these because it deeply involves what you have to say. And if you do have a comment or a question about any of my travels so far throughout all of my travels this year, then please drop a comment down below of anything. You can literally ask me quite literally anything about myself or about the countries that I've visited and the perspectives and opinions that you would like to know about. Nothing is off limits. If you have a question, please drop it down in the comment section below. But today's video is a really interesting one because it is from Justin Sundo, and he says, what is something, if anything, that you miss from home that you didn't expect after being away for so long? Now, this is a great question, Justin, because I think I've answered one of Justin's questions before. This year, I've been traveling since January. It is now October. So in January, I was in Fiji. I started off the year in Fiji, and then I went back home to Australia for a couple of weeks just to get all my things sorted before I head back to Fiji. Spent a couple of weeks there before I then went across to Las Vegas, and then there for about 4 nights, then came to Hawaii for 3 nights. There are some hotel reviews on the channel that you guys can go and check out. Then came back to Fiji for I think about 2 nights, went across to Hong Kong for 1 night, and then went to India for about 3 months, 2.5 months, moved across to Thailand for about the same time frame of 2.5 months. Then went to Vietnam for, I think my first stint was about 2 months, 2 and a bit months, before I went to Malaysia for 1 week in Kuala Lumpur, just because I wanted to do a bit of a visa run, and then came back to Vietnam where I am right now, where I've been here for probably, geez, I don't even know how long I've been here for now, maybe about a month again or so, before I head to Singapore next week for about 3 or 4 days, and then I'm back into Fiji. So it has been a long journey. I've been from January all the way now till October, and I won't get back until the 28th of October before I start thinking about what my next journey is going to be. But that is a long time. And whilst there are other travelers out there who do go for longer stints and longer periods, and I guess people do move to different countries, right? But then again, that's now where they call home, so it's not like me where I still have a home and now I'm moving elsewhere. No, like I do consider it living in the countries, but then again, you're not paying taxes, you're not living by the same standards of people who are actually calling it home themselves. But 10 months is still a long time, and you do miss things for sure. However, to answer your question pretty straightforward here as well, I don't feel like there's anything that I specifically miss about back home in Australia, or even if I want to include Fiji as back home too, there's nothing of material value that I feel like I miss being here. If you do need something, you can just simply get it. You can order it. It might take a little bit to get here. It probably won't, to be fair, but it might take a little bit to get here, but you can get it. And actually, a lot of the time, of the things that we're receiving in Australia or Fiji, it is coming from Asia. So it actually probably gets here quicker. So I remove material things. I guess I can give you a really obvious answer here and say family and friends. You know, I grew up on the Gold Coast, and I've got my mother and my daughter in Fiji, and of course I miss them. You know, of course I miss the people that I've grown up with, the friends that I have been at my home for many, many years now, and my mum and my daughter who are my family. That is something that you're always going to miss, and that is a very straightforward and obvious answer. So yes, okay, sure, I'll give you that one, and say I cannot wait to go back and see them after such a long journey, which I've never done this long of a journey, especially not solo, in my life. Actually, no, I've just genuinely never done anything of this significant length in my life before. So yes, family is obviously going to be the case. Now, I will say before I came, I was quite concerned about internet. Now, I create content here on BKRtravel, and I've also got BKR Sport, which is my sports streaming rugby league live commentary of the games. And of course, when you're thinking of, say, India and rural India, or even maybe not so much Thailand, but Vietnam, you can get a little bit concerned with, maybe not so much Malaysia and whatnot. But in a couple of those countries, before you go, especially speaking about India, you do get really worried about how the internet connection is going to be. And I guess that would have been something that I thought that I was going to be missing, a real strong, consistent internet connection. But that is something that is a complete myth in regards to this part of the world, because it is way better. I have had throughout, and I've stayed in 36 different places this year, as in hotels or Airbnbs, which you will see reviews for on the channel. There was one Airbnb, and that was actually only recently, last week, here in Vietnam in Ho Chi Minh, where the internet was really spotty and it worked great in this area of the room, but didn't work great literally right next to it or here or over there. It was really difficult, and I actually had to stream on top of the bed because it was the only place that I could actually use the internet. So the point that I'm making there is that you're not going to miss a great, consistent quality internet connectivity. No, you're not going to, because for the most part, for the majority, you are going to get pretty strong Wi-Fi, even if you are in Agra, where the Taj Mahal is. Even if you're in Udaipur, the internet was fantastic there as well. The issue, I guess, in India a lot of the time was that power outages were quite regular. I had one power outage here in Vietnam. I didn't have a single power outage in Thailand, but there were quite a few, especially in Udaipur. There were quite a few, so that wasn't a great deal of fun in regards to the power, but yet the internet was still very strong. The internet was very good in these places. So whilst I thought I was going to miss that, I haven't missed it, except for last week here in Ho Chi Minh. Answer your question, the thing that I miss the most would be beaches. Beautiful, beautiful beaches. And I'm going to have to really clarify here, because a couple of the countries that I've mentioned do have great beaches. But I'm from the Gold Coast, a beach city, and also from Fiji, which is a beach island country. Everywhere is just beautiful beaches. Now, Hawaii was great. Of course it was. Vegas, there was no beaches, but it was only a short time. So we're specifically looking at the long-term value here. So once we left Fiji, as soon as you get to Hong Kong, I was only there for one night, so I wasn't able to experience a beach. And then I went to India, and I landed in Delhi before going to Agra, and then to Jaipur, and then to Udaipur before going back to Delhi, and then obviously heading out of India to Thailand. But that was because of the whole Pakistan-India situation that was happening at the time. It literally was happening as I was leaving, right? It was a big reason as to why I had to kind of hurry up and kind of get out of there, even though that is a pretty regular thing, unfortunately, over there. But in those places, there's no beaches. And there are beaches in India, and I'm sure that there are going to be great beaches there. This might seem like a very trivial thing, but ultimately this is what I've missed. I'm answering this question truthfully. There are beaches in India, and Goa is a great example of this, but it's just not the same. And I didn't even get to go there, to be fair, so I'm just using this as an example. But when you look at photos of Goa, it's not that great. It doesn't look that fantastic, and I would love to maybe go there and prove this wrong, but also knowing about a lot of how India can operate, I wouldn't have too much high hopes for being able to prove that specific thing wrong. I can prove plenty of things wrong about India, but that specific thing, I don't think that beach would be necessarily fantastic. But removing that anyway, that's in the middle of the continent. That's in the middle of India. Udaipur is in Rajasthan. That's in the desert. Jaipur is in Rajasthan too. Not necessarily quite the desert, but not the beach. And Agra, Delhi don't even start. You know, you're not finding a beach for yonks for many bloody damn well years of traveling from those places. So unfortunately, in that 2.5 month span, there was no beach for me. And then I go to Thailand, and Bangkok, there's no beaches there. And I know that Thailand has some great beaches down in the south, where like Phuket and whatnot, and also the Koh Samui Island, and there's plenty of islands there that do have great beaches, amazing beaches. And then I guess you've also got Pattaya, but I was in Hua Hin. Now Hua Hin is on a beach, don't get me wrong, Hua Hin is on a beach, but it's not a fantastic beach. It really wasn't anything spectacular at all, and it really was underwhelming, and I didn't even really go swimming in it at all. So whilst there was a beach there, it wasn't an enticing beach that kind of makes you, and I'm a water baby. I love getting out into the water. I love going out for a paddle. I love, just diving in and having a real clean, great swim. And that's what Thailand's known for. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to these places, though, what Thailand is specifically known for, because I was there for a fitness camp in Hua Hin. So whilst there was a beach there, it wasn't great. And then we move across to Vietnam, where I've been down here in Ho Chi Minh and also Vung Tau, and whilst I've absolutely adored this country, I adore Vietnam. I think it is an amazing country, and I can't wait to eventually explore more up in Hanoi. Da Nang apparently has some fantastic beaches. There is some fantastic beaches along Vietnam, but Vung Tau, again, beach there, but very underwhelming. The construction they've had to like the promenade to make the beach more appealing is great, don't get me wrong. But the beach itself is murky water. It's just not unreal. it's not what I'm used to with Fiji and to the Gold Coast. So maybe I'm just being very pedantic here and being a very big beach snob, which is a genuine possibility. But I just wasn't a fan of Vung Tau, and I know there are so many better options. So it's just unlucky that the places I've gone in Thailand, which I love, and I loved Hua Hin, but it wasn't good for its beach. India, don't even start me in regards to beaches, and then Vietnam. Unfortunately, where I've been, whilst loving it, the beach hasn't been spectacular. That's more so up north, or I think Phu Quoc Island down south has some great beaches too. Just the location hasn't been in my favour. And then when I went across to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, I was only there for a week, and it was great. It was awesome in the Airbnb, looking out over the city. It was amazing, but I wasn't able to experience any beach. So I guess to be more specific there, it's that there wasn't a great beach that I was able to go to. There were beaches, technically speaking. I did swim in Vung Tau and whatnot, but there were beaches, but I just didn't really like them. I just didn't really like the beaches, and I've missed it. I've missed the beautiful waters of Fiji, and I've missed the beautiful waters of the Gold Coast, of Burleigh Heads or Coolangatta. You know, nothing beats an early morning get up on the Gold Coast. You go grab yourself a nice cup of coffee from a local who's created a business there, and they're putting love and passion into their coffee and to the way they create their and do their business. And then you go down on the early morning, that fresh vibe, you're looking out at pure skies, you know it's about to be a beautiful day on the Gold Coast, that crystal clear water that you just can jump in, and it's going to be refreshing, it's going to be cool, and it's just going to give you a great start to the day. And I was hoping for that in Hua Hin. It's not the place for that. And I was hoping for that in Vung Tau. It's also not the place for that. So maybe it's just because I'm a beach snob, but to answer your question truthfully and honestly, it is the lack of a quality beach on my travels. And that is a very different answer to what you're going to get, because you are going to get people who answer with family, and families, of course, it's the most basic answer. Material things, the more you travel in life, the more you realize you don't need that much. You just don't. The way I've traveled this year has been with, well, I've got a suitcase now. After my my travels, I have decided to grab things and buy things on my journey, but I didn't need to. I didn't need to at all. I started off with quite literally just a decent sized backpack, not one of those long kind of massive backpacks, but a decent sized backpack where has mainly been for my computer and for my light and for my chargers and maybe headphones and whatnot. I haven't traveled with much, and then some clothes. And I started off with a limited amount of clothes, and again, I bought this and bought my pants and bought a couple of things over time, but I didn't start out with much. And I guess that's because when you travel, you realize you don't need a whole hell of a lot. You just need to experience, you need to live, man. You just gotta live. And whilst you will be pedantic about beaches like I just spoke about, the point that I'm making is that you don't need much, so you're not going to miss much on a simple materialistic level. Family, yes. Beaches, sure. But material-wise, no. You can get amazing food here. You can buy great clothes for much cheaper, by the way, and also the clothes that you're buying here is probably the clothes you're getting there just for much more expensive, because they're probably coming from places like here. Just travel, man. You won't miss much. Except for family. You won't miss much. Just gotta live in the moment. But that's to answer your question there, Mr. Justin Sundo. What is something, if anything, that you missed from home that you didn't expect after being away for so long? My answer, to be very pedantic, a great quality beach on the specific parts of the world that I traveled to this year. But also, of course, my family back home in Fiji, and also my friends and family from Australia. But alright guys, I appreciate you for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. I hope you are enjoying. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. If you have any comments, please put it down in the comment section below, and I'll get to it on a future video. Appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.